It's that time of year where things are changing. The environment is great right now. The days are getting warmer. The trees are budding. The flowers are blooming. Spring has sprung here in Georgia. I'm pumped up about that. The Masters is right around the corner. That's going to be awesome. And one of the things that's been changing lately is I've been back out on the road. I've been getting to do all these events and spend time with high performance leaders and organizations. I've been having a lot of fun with that and having some conversations with them outside of work. Actually, some stuff. I've met with a couple of CEOs recently. We've had some conversations about what they're doing at home, what they're doing in their life to win. I'm just learning as I go and having some of these conversations outside of the work stuff that we're doing with their teams, and that's been great. And today I'm going to share some things that I think will help you. I've got four ideas and four concepts and four ideas, four things you can actually do to help you win at life. That's what we're talking about today on Chasing Greatness, the podcast where we help you win at work, win at home, and win at life. And we do that 3 days a week. We do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday episode. You guys have been downloading, you've been sharing it with your friends. The channel's growing like crazy. We're pumped up about that. Hope you'll continue to share that. Love to hear your comments. If you have questions today, anything that you maybe have some ideas about some of the concepts that I'll share today. If you got some ideas that'll make it better, let me know what those are. Love to hear those from you. If you got questions, things you'd love for us to address on any of these Win It Live Fridays that we do, that'd be great. We're reviewing books on Thursdays. Monday, we talk about winning at work, and then we do the home episode on Wednesday. A couple days ago did that, and we talked about some of the D's that will destroy your family. If you will listen to that, I think it'll help you avoid some of those traps that might be in your way at home. But today, I'm fired up about these four concepts that I've been learning from leaders, just being reminded more than anything. You'll hear these today, and you won't go, I've never thought about that before. You've thought about all these things. But I think as leaders, it's so easy to get in the grind of work and home and all the stuff's going on that we really don't think about our lives enough as it relates to these four things. And so let me give them to you. I think they'll help you. And I want to give you an idea on each one that might be useful to you. It's just a little way you can practice if you want to think about it that way. It's something that I'm doing. I think it'll help me as well. So the first idea is the idea of focus. So we say all the time that it's better to be strategic than it is sporadic. And when I think about focus, I can't help but think about one of the guys on my team, our Integrate Leadership team, whose daughter is she's a high school, or she was a high school archery on an archery team. So think bow and arrows, and they're shooting these things. And my friend tells me, he said, I go to the very first meet and they have these targets. And on the outside of the target, there's a ring. And if you hit the ring out there, you get some points. And you get more points if you hit the next ring in and the next ring in and the next ring. And if you hit the bullseye, you get a whole lot of points, right? It makes total sense to us that this idea of focus is important, but yet we don't focus. Yesterday, I reviewed Greg McKeown's book, Essentialism. He talks about the disciplined pursuit of less. I think it would be so amazing if we could discipline ourselves to pursue less stuff. We accumulate more. We have more on our schedule. We have more emails than we know what to do with. We have more, friends than we maybe sometimes can focus on in the right way. I'm not saying we don't need more friends, but do you have some friend that you can really depend on, or maybe a few friends that you're in what I would call community with? I think if you just have a bunch of surface acquaintances, that's really not going to help you relationally as much as having a few close friends. You still can have a bunch of acquaintances, but do you have some people that you really can depend on when things are hard? Last few weeks, we've had some stuff that's been challenging, and I've had some people that I could depend on when things were challenging there. So that's just a relational side of life, but you have these other areas of your life. You have things that you want to accomplish. Maybe you want to start a business or write a book or do something, and you don't have time, you don't feel like, because you don't have focus. It's not you don't have time, you don't have focus. And so let me give you an idea here I think will be helpful to you. If you've read, Stephen Covey wrote a book several years ago. I think it was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he talks about this principle in the book of the what he calls the big rocks. Put the big rocks into your life first. And there's this illustration. I won't go into it here, but it's really cool. He takes these big rocks that represent the biggest things in his life, and he puts them into a bucket. And well, he actually does it the opposite way first. He puts the little rocks in first, and then the big rocks won't fit. But when he puts the big rocks in first, and he takes little rocks, and then he puts pebbles, and then he puts sand, and then he puts water. It's amazing what will go into your life if you put the big rocks in first. If you put the little stuff in first, the big stuff won't fit. The big stuff gets left out. So as you think about this idea of focus, I would challenge you to do one thing. Get one rock, just one rock, and take one word. You pick the word, pick one area of your life where you want to focus for the next week, and take a Sharpie and write it on your rock. Write it on your rock and put it on your desk. Put it on your bathroom sink. Put it somewhere that you're going to see this rock. Put it on your nightstand. You're going to see this rock over and over. You might even have a small rock. Write the word on it. Put it in your pocket, and you have that rock with you everywhere you go. And focus for 1 week on one priority. You choose. Priority is a singular word, right? We as Americans love to say we have 6 priorities. Well, the word priority actually means it's a singular word. It's not, you can't have more than one priority. There's one thing that is most important. You get to choose what it is. Is it a relationship? Is it something you're trying to do at work? I don't know. You get to decide. But this week, find one thing, focus on that, and watch what happens. You'll be blown away with how much progress you make just by increasing your focus. It's like the old light. If it's broad, it shines. But if you can take the light and you narrow it down, you actually can make a laser, and it'll burn a hole through metal. And I think that level of focus is missing in so many leaders that I see these days. They're just we're just kind of sporadic in the way we think about it. We're not really strategically looking. We don't have a bullseye, so to speak. So get you a bullseye. Okay, here's number 2. I was talking to some leaders, and they talk about the concept of urgency. And man, this dovetails nicely with the idea of focus. But I think if we're not careful, we will lose a sense of urgency. And here's my warning to you. The more successful you are, the less urgent you will feel like you need to be. Success breeds complacency if we're not careful. And so just this reminder that I need to have urgency moved up. There are some things, let's say your priority, your rock, is there a sense of urgency about this? If I'm guessing, you would probably say no, or you'd have it already on your rock. You would have it already on your priority list, or it'd be your priority, rather than just going, well, week after week, I meant to do that. I hope to do that. I should have done that. Hope is not a strategy for high performance, right? I mean, you're not going to hope your way to where you want to go. You're going to work your way there. You're going to practice your way there. You're going to behave your way there. And urgency is going to help. So here's just one idea. Your rock is the idea on focus. But on urgency, my idea for you is this. Set an alarm. Put an alarm. Open up your phone. Put an alarm at a certain time every day. This thing goes off, and it does nothing more than remind you to double down on your urgency in this place. Because here's the crazy thing. You're going to put it on a rock. You're going to put it on your priority list. It's at the top of the list. I mean, it's the number one thing, and you're still going to forget how important it is. If you don't have this sense of urgency and this reminder that, hey, I gotta stay locked in on what I'm doing, it's crazy how distraction moves us off of what we need to be locked in on. So focus and urgency. Some of the leaders I've been talking to are talking to me about the importance of community. The importance of community. Who are you doing life with? Who do you have around you? I talked a moment ago about the focus of friendship. It's so important that you have some people around you that you can depend on to help you. If you don't have those people around your life, you're going to feel isolated. You're going to feel lonely. And I don't know any effective leader who lives in isolation. I really don't. I don't know a leader that I would look at and say, that leader is healthy if they're living in isolation. I don't know healthy leaders who would say, hey, I'm lonely all the time. I do know some leaders who say they're lonely all the time, but loneliness is actually a choice. We love this cliche of it's lonely at the top. It's lonely at the top because we chose to be at the top by ourselves. It's so much better if you have people that are going with you. And so I would just encourage you this week to take a hard look at the community around you. Do you have some people in your life who can speak truth into your life, who can hold you accountable, who can challenge you, who are pushing you to be a little bit better? There's an old study I read years ago that says that we become the average of the 5 people we're closest to. As you think about the 5 people you're closest to in your life, I hope you have 5 people you're close to, but your life is going to be the average of those 5 people. You're going to dress like they dress. You're going to talk like they talk. You're going to live like they live. You're going to have the same kind of values they have. If you don't like some of the things that are going on in your life, you may need a different person or two to challenge you at a new level if you're going to try to level up your life right now. It doesn't mean you have to give up all your old friends. That's not what I'm saying. But are the people around you in community with you? Do they love you? Do they really can you depend on them? That's the way I would say it. And can they depend on you? And I think community is built over time. It's something we have to invest in. We can't just assume that. And if we don't pay attention to this, we lose that community, we lose those friendships, and we end up isolated and lonely. And that's not a recipe for success. So let's think about that. And then so my idea here for you is think about who's important in your life this week. And I challenge you to write them a note. I challenge you to write them a note. Go get a handwritten note, maybe you pick 5 people and you just say, this person is really meaningful to me, and I need to tell them, thank you for being there for me. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your investment in me. I mean, I got people who have invested in my life. I wouldn't be where I am were it not for those people. I need to write some notes this week, and you do too. Think of some people that you're in community with. Maybe go have dinner with someone. My wife and I we got somebody we're going to have dinner with. Think about some people in your life that you need to spend more time with. You probably don't need to spend more time at the office. You probably are not going to regret it if you miss one more, extra hour of paperwork at night. What you are going to miss and what you are going to forfeit is just the value of friendship if you don't focus on it. If you put time on it, your community will grow, and it'll give you a chance to serve people and love people and know their story and all that. And that's what, life really is about, those relationships. So don't miss out on the community. Focus, urgency, community. And then the fourth one, I was having a conversation with a leader not long ago, and they were talking about the importance. It's a high-level leader. They're in charge of a lot of stuff. They can power up if they want to, and they were talking about the importance of humility. I love that. I love this leader. I love this mindset of a leader understanding that they wouldn't be where they were if it weren't for the people around them. That's just so great when we think about it. We can think about our relationship with God as well. We've been given this gift of life, which is really pretty incredible if you think about it. That's what I believe, that we're not just here by random chance. We've been given life. And so when you start to think about that, it really does put a sense of gratefulness in you, actually a sense of humility. You realize you're just not in control. We've seen the miracle of life come into our family with a couple of babies in the last couple of weeks, and you just realize life is a gift. And so when you think about that, it does produce in you hopefully some humility. You realize that it's really not about you. It's about the people around you, the people with you, and it's about things bigger than you. And I think if we can live with a sense of humility. Remember Jim Collins years ago when he wrote Good to Great, he talked about level 5 leaders. And I love that concept. He said level 5 leaders have this iron will of determination and focus, kind of some of the stuff we talk about, but they also have this deep humility. They have this appreciation for their position, their opportunity, their team, whatever it is. Those things are a gift. And I want you to think about that. And so for me, just an idea here, I would encourage you, maybe even just turn off the tape here when you're done and make yourself a list of 25 blessings in your life, 25 things that you're grateful for. It's amazing how gratitude actually, when we are grateful, research would show it actually lowers our stress level. It causes us to believe it or not, I say believe it or not, this is actually just common sense if you think about it. But it actually increases our life expectancy if we're grateful, which is wild when you think about it. It's like it's your secret weapon if you want to think about it. You want to have a better life, be grateful. And so my little practice for us today would be, let's go make a list of 25 things we're grateful for. And I think when you start reading through that list and you look at it, you will be not just overwhelmed with gratitude if you really think about it at the right heart level, but it will cause your humility level to rise as well as you think about that. So we got so much to be thankful for. I hope you'll give some thought to this here as you try to win at life. You're chasing greatness. You really want to have the best life you can, really, so it positions you to help other people have a great life and to remind them. That's really what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to help everybody, do the best they can at what they're trying to do. And you guys are doing some great stuff, amazing stuff. There's greatness in every one of you. If you will create greater focus, get your rock, write down your priority. If you will up your urgency game this week and maybe even get yourself an alarm. You might need an alarm every hour just to remind yourself. Be urgent, have a bias for action. Think through who those relationships are, that the people around you that are most important to you. Maybe write a note to 4 or 5 of them this week. I think that would be very meaningful. Even as I think about the notes that I've received through the years, I still have them. I mean, I have notes from 30, 40 years ago that I just saved. I mean, I'm thinking I might need, someday to remind myself I'm not that bad. And you probably save your notes too. And I'm guessing a meaningful note from you, a heartfelt note from you, it'll mean a lot to somebody right now. Don't underestimate what that can do, not just for them, but actually for you as well. And then finally, this idea of humility. Don't forget, this is not about you. This really is about what can you do to become the best you that you can be. But ultimately, we want to do that so we can help other people reach their potential as well. We love that old offensive lineman mindset that they never get their name in the paper. They just make a hole so somebody else can score, and they do the dirty work. And that's really what we're about here. Let's be those kind of leaders. Those are servant leaders, right? They're the best leaders that I know. And so I hope you'll be that this week. I hope you'll focus, you'll be urgent, you'll have the people around you that you need, and ultimately live with humility, lead with humility. If you'll do that, I think you'll win at life this week. So love to hear your comments. If you got ideas on how you can do maybe each one of those things, you got an idea of what we can do to create focus and urgency and community and humility, love to hear your ideas as well. If you got questions, let us know those. Would love to discuss anything you got on your mind here on the Win It Life episodes when we do those. You guys keep chasing greatness. Love you. I'll see you next week.